Knowing about your options for college can seem daunting at first. If you're like a lot of the families that I work with, you might be asking yourself, how do I choose a college? What are the right schools for my student? How do I even get started with this search? When do we start visiting colleges? And where can I find the best college search tools? Today, we are going to talk through many of those questions. Mark Twain once said that the secret of getting ahead is actually getting started. So I want to encourage you, even when it seems overwhelming and you don't know what to do, sometimes it's just taking those initial steps. For our parents of juniors, did you realize that on the day this podcast is going live, there are 6 months and 2 weeks until August 1st? August 1st is actually when a lot of college applications will go live and students can start filling them out. For sophomores, there are 18 months and 2 weeks until those applications go live. Even if you're not quite sure what to do, and I don't share those dates to cause you concern, but just so that you know what's coming. But even if you don't know what to do, take a deep breath. Know that these are the steps that are going to help you kickstart your college search and make choices about your college selection.
Hey there, I'm Courtney and I'm the founder of Confused to College Ready. With over 15 years experience as a mental health therapist turned school counselor, I am bringing my experience and expertise to help you navigate the college search experience. My goal is to serve students and their families and unlock the secrets to college searching. Stay tuned.
Hey there, I'm Courtney. I am the founder of Confused to College Ready, and I am so excited to be able to spend time with you today. I just want to reassure you that you are not alone in this college search. You might have a school counselor, you might have career development facilitators at your school. There also are a lot of free resources like this podcast, different articles, websites, but sometimes it can end up feeling a little overwhelming for you to try and navigate it on your own. One of the things that I would love to do and that I will do with all of the families that I work with is to give you a free 15-minute consultation. And so we can talk and find out about your specific concerns and your individual student. And then as I work with families, we're going to look at finding the right fit for your student. So making sure that they are looking at the top college for them and the college that's going to be the best fit, looking at the top college and the best fit for your comfort level as a mom or a dad. And then we also will review your students' strengths and interests and help you avoid mistakes that you don't even know about right now. So while I know that it can feel overwhelming to keep up with classes, with grades, with tests, extracurricular activities, friends, your student wants to enjoy being a high school student and a teenager, and then you also have this pressure of finding the right school, it can feel like a lot. So let's talk through how to know what your options are for college for your student. So the first thing I really want to talk about is creating a college list. If you've seen any news stories, you might have seen that some students are applying to 10, 12, 15, even 20 colleges. I want to tell you that is not necessary. One, that is a very expensive way to start the college application season, as you are paying application fees. But two, how do you make a decision once some of the acceptances come in? So I want to help families make the right call about having a solid number of colleges in different categories that we'll talk about so that you are confident in where your student is applying, no matter what the decision is from that particular college. So there's 3 different categories that I want to talk about today, and those are your reach, target, and safety schools. That well-rounded list where you have 6 to 8 schools that you're applying to is incredibly helpful. Now, I will say there aren't guarantees of anyone getting accepted to any college. Having those options is going to be kind of that safety net, different than safety schools, but also we want to make sure that students are happy no matter where they are accepted for each individual school. So first, I want to talk about what are the safety schools. Safety schools are colleges or universities where students have pretty much an 80% chance or higher of being accepted to that specific college. So one of the things that you can do is you can look at the average incoming GPA and SAT, ACT scores of applicants. And if their scores are matching or higher than 75% of the applicants, you can typically consider that to be a safety school. Then we have match schools. So match schools are colleges where your student is pretty likely to be accepted, but it's not a guarantee. So their GPA and test scores kind of fall into that 25% to 75% of the students who are applying there. So this is something that would be a pretty solid choice, one where you think that your student matches the current college freshman GPA and scores, and that they are more than likely to be accepted at that school. Then we have reach or stretch schools. And so these are colleges where your student could expect some difficulty with being accepted there. So colleges are looking at GPA, they are looking at test scores, they're also looking at extracurricular activities and courses that students have taken. Colleges that are considered reach or stretch schools more than likely are going to accept 30% or less of students who apply. And typically, it's a stretch school if students fall below that 25th percentile of students who are enrolled in that college as a freshman. So we talked a little bit about having a balanced list, and you can start with a larger list, but we really want to narrow it down as you go through the college search process. So starting with 2 to 4 likely or safety schools, 2 to 4 target or match schools, and then looking at 2 to 3 reach or stretch schools is going to help you make sure you have that balanced list to find the best fit for your student. And then you can even narrow it down more from there to have between 6 to 8 schools total. One that's going to save you money, that's going to save you time as far as not having near as many colleges that you are applying to. And then it also is going to help making some of those final decisions a whole lot easier. So the second thing, so we talked about the reach, match, and safety schools. The second thing that I want to talk about after the reach, target, and safety schools are going to be students' personal interests in looking at campus visits. Your student might not have any idea about what they are looking for in a campus or a college. And on the other hand, maybe they will say, this is exactly what I want, and I'm not going to change my mind. I know this is what I'm going to do. Either one of those is okay, because as you spend time looking at colleges, we want to think about your students' interests, their personal interests, and then even potentially going on some campus visits. That's a great way to start narrowing down all of the different options. So one thing to have your student do is consider the size of their high school. Are they at a large campus? Are they on a smaller campus? And think about the class sizes that they're in. Are they in a class with 35 other students, or are they in a class with 15 students? That can be a really big difference as they look at how many students might be in a class. If you're looking at a larger college, or a university, there might be a lecture hall filled with 200 other students. And if that feels overwhelming, then maybe one of those larger colleges isn't necessarily going to be the best fit. Are they interested in a specific major, and knowing where those majors are offered can also be a very good thing. When you are looking at campus visits, as you take vacations, consider driving through a campus and even stopping and scheduling a tour if one is offered when you are on your vacation. You could walk through the campus on your own. You can even ask students that you see on campus for their opinions. And if you schedule that face-to-face tour that's scheduled directly through the college, then you can even talk to the tour guide about their specific interests, why they chose that college, why are they staying at that college, and several other things. We do have several previous episodes and live videos that are up on YouTube and our Facebook group and Facebook page, and that's all Confused to College Ready. And it goes into a lot more detail about specific questions, as well as some tips for your visit. So we talked about the reach, match, and safety schools. We've talked about campus visits. And now I want to talk about the next big thing that colleges are looking for and decisions that you need to make. And that's going to be the rigor, grades, and testing. Oh my. So rigor is that difficulty level of classes that many colleges are looking for. And so is your student taking
a college prep level class? And maybe that's the base level class. Are they taking an honors level class, or are they even taking an AP, IB, or dual credit level course? We have some other podcast episodes where we've talked about the differences in that difficulty level and that rigor. So I would definitely encourage you to go back and listen to those. And then you want to make sure that with that difficulty level that students are challenging themselves, but also that they have a good balance. So make sure that your student is at the right level of classes to maintain their grades, but they have that life and school balance, and that they're not staying up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just to get all of their work done. Being able to talk through that, that's something that a school counselor can help with. That is something that I am always happy to help with. And it's a conversation to just look at, how do you navigate that balance? And the sooner that students can do that in high school, the easier it also is going to be once they get to college. If you would like to book a free 15-minute consultation with me, you can go to confusedtoready.com/C2. So that's C2 is in the number 2, C2CR free coaching. And that will be linked in the show notes as well. So I want you to make sure that students are asking for help early and that they're asking often. Check in on your high school's website or in with the school counselor about different tutoring options if that is something that your student needs. And then you even can go back in episode 74. We actually talked about starting the 2024, starting this year, and also starting this semester strong so that students are set up for success. Then we get to testing. So testing is something that I get asked a lot of questions about. Courtney, schools say that their tests are test optional, so we don't actually have to take one, right? This isn't anything that we need to worry about. Well, I will tell you, tests aren't going anywhere. While some schools might say that they are test optional, if you have your student who has taken the test and they have equivalent other factors and to another student who didn't take the test, and your student has a strong test score, that can give your student some benefit. So colleges might assume that if you don't submit a test score, that it didn't meet their typical 50% of students, their average incoming freshman class. And it is something where tests might be needed to see if you qualify for scholarships at the college. So be on the lookout. There is going to be a podcast coming shortly where we're going to go into more detail about the ACT and the SAT. We're going to talk through differences in the tests. The SAT actually is on a new digital platform and is adaptive. And so we're going to go into a lot more detail about what that means and how you can help your student figure out which test they should take. I definitely encourage students to take the test. Please know that colleges will accept both of them. It's not like there's a preference of one over the other. And then I also want you to be aware that colleges will often superscore the test. So if you take the SAT multiple times, they're going to take whichever score is highest on the English portion across the board, and then however many times you test, and then they're going to take the higher math score of however many times you test. And so then, even if one time you do better on math and another time you do better on English, they actually are going to be able to give you the super score of those higher tests of the number of times that you've taken it. And ACT will do the same thing across their 4 areas. So I know that this was a lot of information. I just want you to know that there are a lot of things you can do to kickstart that college search and knowing what your students' options for college are. If you have any interest in talking a little bit more, please go to confusedtoready, toready.com/C2CR. That's C, the number 2, CR, free coaching. And we can set up a free 15-minute phone call to talk through your specific questions. And you also can download our free copy of How to Start or Expand Your College Search and go into a little bit more depth and detail. And that's at confusedtoready.com/how to start. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the day. If you are watching on YouTube, please leave me a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. If you are watching on or listening to a podcast, please leave a review because that's what helps others get to know more about what we are doing.
It is always a pleasure to serve you, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Confused to Ready, and download our free guide on how to start or expand your college search at confusedtoready.com/how to start.